Get in there!
Yes, chef.
Move! Chad! Get over there! Get over there! What in the is going on here? What is going on? You, do me a big favour.
Yes, chef.
Yeah? Get your apron off, get packed, out! First, get out! Get out!
Yes, chef.
Who's next?
Guys, it's finally happened. Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be talking about pretty significant news that has come out today. Now, you're probably aware of what it is unless you live in a beach hut down Barry Island, and that is Neil Harris has been sacked as Cardiff City manager. A lot of people can actually see this coming, but I will get onto my opinions about the sacking in a little bit anyway. But what I'm going to do first is read through the club's statement about this. So Cardiff City have said, we can confirm that first team manager Neil Harris and assistant manager David Livermore have left Cardiff City Football Club with immediate effect. The board of directors, so that is Ken Chu and Mehmet Dalman, those sorts of figures in the club, would like to thank Neil and David for their efforts during their time with the Bluebirds and wish them every success for their future. A new permanent manager and assistant will be announced in due course via club channels. Hopefully that is by next Wednesday, as we are playing Barnsley, of course. Speaking on Thursday, Tansiri Vincent Tan has said, I'd like to thank Neil and David sincerely for their hard work at Cardiff City. Their efforts to propel us towards a 5th place finish and playoff position last year are recognised and appreciated, although sadly we are in a results-oriented business and our on-field results of late and progress this season have been very poor. As such, we have had no choice but to relieve them of their duties in an effort to improve results and league position with a change of manager. I'd like to personally wish Neil and David the very best with their future and undertakings and endeavours. They will always be welcome faces at the Cardiff City Stadium, and I wish them good luck and good health. God bless. So my thoughts about this, I can kind of see where Vincent Tan's coming from, in particular with saying that we have been very poor this season and that we have needed to make a change of personnel here. But with the transfer news in the last couple of days with the likes of Perry Inge and Max Waters signing, I actually thought that they were going to back Harris until the end of the season, but it turns out that was the final nail in the coffin before the QPR match, as at that point we had lost 6 matches in a row. Honestly, that is dreadful form for us, and that is actually the worst form we've had since 1993, which quite frankly is basically appalling, guys. But my thoughts on the sacking, really with a lack of managers that are currently available out there, I would have liked to see Harris stay until the end of the season. However, I understand why he has had to go here, but either way, thank you for your service, Neil Harris. Anyway, I want to move on to see who is likely to become the next Cardiff City manager and what our options are, really, where not too many well-known and good managers are really available for us at the moment. So what I did was I took to Twitter and asked you guys for your help and see which manager you would possibly like to see at Cardiff City. But what many of you guys said first is that you actually want Eddie Howe to become Cardiff City's next manager. I think there was about 4 or 5 of you who said that. Eddie Howe, of course, former Bournemouth boss. He was there for almost 10 years. Propelled them from League 2 to the Premier League. What a story that was, guys. And he was actually able to stabilise them as a strong Premier League club. Consistently mid-table, of course, but they did have that unfortunate last season where they did get relegated due to the amount of injuries we had, and Eddie Howe has been out of football since then. Personally, I would like this to happen, but I'm really unsure if it will, because Eddie Howe is going to be going for those jobs in the Premier League and stuff, and not only that, he is going to ask for a lot of money to become Cardiff City manager. Don't get me wrong, it is possible, but knowing Cardiff City and their appointments that they have appointed recently, I think that Eddie Howe might be a little bit too expensive for us somehow. Another name that popped up quite a bit was Craig Bellamy. Of course, he used to be our under-23s manager until certain unfortunate events happened. He is currently now the under-23s manager, I believe, Anderlecht, underneath Vincent Kompany. Of course, they were former teammates at Manchester City back in the day. Now, personally, I think it would be great to have a club legend like Craig Bellamy come in and take the reins as Cardiff, but the only concern I have with this, yet again, is money and his coaching experience as well. I believe he's still getting his badges. He hasn't done a full managerial job just yet of a club, so I am kind of unsure about this. Don't get me wrong, he could all surprise us and do a great job, but I think it's too early for him, unfortunately, guys. He is definitely an option, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. By the way, he is actually going for 7-1, so he's got quite good odds against him. Much better than Eddie Howe at the moment, who's running 16-1. Another name that was pitted quite a few times was Danny Cowley as well, former Huddersfield Town and Lincoln boss. Personally, I think it was disgraceful how the Huddersfield board actually sacked Danny Cowley, considering how he took them out of the Championship relegation zone and actually got them playing quite well. He was not given enough time there, and he should have been given more time. Now, Cowley at Lincoln City, of course, along with his brother Nicky, he did take him from the National League all the way up to League 1, which is quite an incredible feat, to be fair. Former PE teachers, of course. He looks to be quite a great manager with some good contacts and stuff, and I reckon he might be able to get something going at Cardiff. But personally, the only concern about him is that he hasn't exactly had that good experience at this sort of level, in particular higher Championship. Well, that's quite hypocritical for me to say since we're 15th in the table, but middle to higher Championship and Premier League, so the only concern I have about Cowley is experience, but I still think he could do quite a good job for us, especially if he is only here till the end of the season to stable the ship and get us up the table. Now, another one that was said quite a few times, and personally I would quite rate, is Nigel Pearson, former Leicester boss who got into the Premier League and built the foundations for that title winning season in 2015-16. Then he went on to Watford boss and was unfairly sacked last year. He's a great manager, quite an outspoken coach, sort of reminds me of a younger Neil Warnock and stuff. He has good contacts and can get some really good players coming into the club and actually selling them on for a good fee. So he could be really good for development there and could get our youth system working like Neil Harris tried to as well. But only concern about him is he is at 12-1. But the question is, would he come to a club like Cardiff or would he want to stay in the Premier League? I'm quite uncertain about that, but the thing is, there's pros and cons with every manager. We're just going to have to weigh up the ones that has the most pros, really, and hope that Cardiff City and the board go for the right man. Now, what I also wanted to do is have a look at what other fans were saying. In particular, you know, and guys, Douglas sent me a video earlier expressing his thoughts on who should take over at Cardiff. It was actually quite an informative and well-analysed video, so here it is, guys. Have a look at this.
Neil Harris gone. In all honesty, Nathan, I think it's the right decision. The fan base has been obviously divided. I thought after the defeat to QPR, I thought he would be gone, in all honesty. We can obviously say that 5th place finish last season was very, very good for Cardiff, but yeah, this season hasn't been great. Next people to take over, I mean, I think probably Craig Bellamy will probably take temporary charge, I would think. Is he a contender? I don't know. I really don't know. I think probably Nigel Pearson, Eddie Howe, maybe someone like Mark Hughes, maybe. Obviously the Welsh theme as well. So I would say Eddie Howe, Mark Hughes, Nigel Pearson, and then Craig Bellamy for Cardiff City.
Thank you very much for taking your time out to do that for me, Doug. That is greatly appreciated. Anyway, I'd like to get further into Darren McInnes, as you actually said in a tweet earlier, mate. He's the current Aberdeen manager. He's been there since 2013 with a 54% win rate, so he's done quite well there. However, the concern I have is he had a very poor spell at Bristol City in 2013-14, I believe it was. And he did fairly okay at St Johnstone to start out. But last time around, he got hammered by Ross County 4-0. Didn't show too much either. And personally, I like to see for him to have a bit more experience in the Championship instead of flopping with Bristol City. So unfortunately, I don't think he's the man for us. Anyway, moving on to some other managers now who I think could be in contention. I've done this from most favourable to least favourable in my eyes, of course. And first up, I've kind of had to go for the favourite for the job, according to many bookmakers' sites, and it pains me to say it, guys, but Mick McCarthy is favourite to take over as Cardiff City manager. Yes, he has done well at certain clubs, including Wolves, where he did get them promoted, but if you look 2 seasons later, with what happened to the club, they did end up in League One. And then ever since his reign at Wolves, Ipswich, he made them into mid-table mediocrity in the Championship, and then the wheels just fell off the bus. He was, in fact, Republic of Ireland manager a few years back, but trust me, that did not go well for him, and he was out the door before he had any idea of what the tea lady's name was. Anyway, moving down the list as well, Paul Cook is another one that's up there. He's a favourite on some bookmakers' website, of course, Wigan boss. He did actually quite well with them, with the likes of Kiefer Moore and Jamal Lowe. And a very stringent transfer budget at the DW Stadium, of course. He did fairly well, but unfortunately, the club did go into administration, which caused them to get relegated. And it's a shame his reign did actually end like that. But I think this could be a good appointment to the end of the season. He hasn't really added at a club as sort of our size, but I think it could be a good step up for him. But the question is, would he be able to do it at this level with the sort of players we have? I think it could be a risk for us, but the question is it a risk worth taking, guys? Yes, he is a class manager, but will he be able to reform the style of play and everything that many Cardiff fans want to see? Another manager in contention is Michael Flynn. Of course, he's currently at 12-1 in the bookmakers, and me saying that will probably send Mike Green into hysterics. Sorry, Mike, I had to do it, mate. But Michael Flynn, current Newport manager, he's sort of good at that level, but I don't know if he'll be able to do it at the Championship since he hasn't had experience above it. He's great at a Newport level. I'm not too sure about him at the Championship, and to be honest, I think he's safe at Newport at the moment, and I don't think he'll be moving out of that job. I think he's going to want to cement Newport in League One if they can make it there. Another manager that I wouldn't particularly mind is Slavica Johanovic. I think I've said that right, guys. He's a former Fulham manager. I believe he's a head coach in Qatar or UAE or somewhere like that at the moment. But the problem with Johanovic is he's currently running 25-1 odds, and at the moment, there's a bigger likelihood of John Terry taking over the Bluebirds. So, according to the bookies, he's completely out of the question at the moment, but he plays really nice football, and he did extremely well with Fulham in the Championship that got them promoted to the Premier League, which was the same year as us, of course. But that defence, I honestly wouldn't trust them running my bar. So quite frankly, if he's able to sort out the defence and get a bit more experience, and to be honest, we really need someone to get a good defence at Cardiff City. So the question is he the man for the job, guys? Now moving on to the managers, who I really don't want, guys. And honestly, these guys couldn't run a tap, let alone a country, considering the last few managerial jobs. First up, we got Sparky Hughes, who's on 6-1 at the moment, of course, former Wales manager and everything. Looking at his last few jobs, he did alright with Southampton to keep them up. Unfortunately, their form a few years back drove them straight off a cliff, so I really don't think he's the man who is going to demand quite a transfer kitty, which I don't think Vincent Tan's going to go for, so I think we can pretty much rule out Sparky Hughes at this one. Another manager that's out there is Alan Pardew, and God help us. I mean, he did okay in the Netherlands to keep Ado De Haag up, but to be fair, with the squad they have and the size of the club in the Netherlands, anyone could have done that job, really. Looking at his past jobs, he did alright at Palace, but then that just nosedived a little bit. He was an absolute joke at West Brom. Newcastle, he did alright and then got given a massive 8-year contract or something ridiculous like that, and we all know how that ended up. So as far as I'm concerned, keep Alan Pardew as far away as possible from our club. Another manager I think has got way too high odds for the Cardiff City job. Personally, I think he should have taken over from Malky all the way back in 2014 when he did get sacked, when he was actually good as a manager, and that is Tony Pulis. Now, the one thing about him is his style of play is absolutely disgusting. I mean, look at him at Sheffield Wednesday, lasted 45 days in the job, and honestly, he was faster out of that job, quicker than you can say Clan Bypuff Gwinga Kulgerk and Drobber Clan de Silio. But he is Welsh, and to be honest, I think he could get a little bit more motivation for the Bluebirds to bring us back up the table. He did get Stoke promoted, and he did quite a good job at West Brom, getting into the top half of the Premier League, but ever since then, he hasn't been the best of managers, flopped as Middlesbrough coach, then looking at him at Sheffield Wednesday, still not doing well there, so quite frankly, I don't think he's the right man for the job. And then finally, I had to get this one out here, guys. We have been linked with this man. If this happens, I'm actually done, guys. If this guy takes over as Cardiff City boss, then quite frankly, I have lost all faith in football, guys. But anyway, guys, that is an insight into who I think should be Cardiff City manager. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and yes, I will be bringing out a video when the new Cardiff boss is announced. Hopefully, that'll be before Wednesday, and that'll basically show to you whether this will be a rant video or a massive celebration video. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, then please do remember to leave a like, and make sure you share your thoughts of who you want to be as Cardiff City manager in the comments below, and I will give every single person a shout out who gets it right in the next video. Also, if this is the first time you've ever seen a video by me, then please remember to like, comment, subscribe, do what you can to support the channel, guys. That would be greatly appreciated. Follow all my social medias in the description below, and I'll see you all in the next video, which should be who Cardiff City have appointed as manager. I will see you then, guys. I really hope it's someone good. See you then. Hwyl fawr.